They're pushing, they're pulling, they're miming. Either way, it's time for Geek Beat with Ryan Ozawa and Burt. We talked about the content, and it's great stuff this week because we're talking about DEF CON. Neither of you have been before.
No,
not
scared.
Okay.
Yeah, it is scary. There's actually two conferences. One is called Black Hat, and the other one is called DEF CON. It's like the good guys and the bad guys, but they actually come together at Las Vegas and they kind of share some ideas. Now, one of the things that is becoming very popular, and I think we're going to pay a lot of attention to, is things like the Internet of Things and the computing that's going into cars.
Right.
So last week, well, even prior to last week, there was a Wired article about a couple of researchers slash hackers who actually were looking at getting into a Jeep remotely, and they actually demonstrated taking over this car.
They did that at the conference?
No, they did it prior to the conference.
Right.
And what they did at the conference was release the code. But what they were able to do was control things like, through the entertainment system, they were able to control the steering, the radio, they could blast the radio, they could control the windshield wipers.
And
they
turn
could,
off the car?
Yeah, they can actually turn off
the
accelerator. So the guy was actually on the freeway and he couldn't control his accelerator. So he was in contact with them. He said, hey, guys, can you give me control of the accelerator? And said, well, no, we can't. You got to turn the car off and come it back on. But he was on the freeway already, so it is really scary.
Yeah, it's interesting though, but the intent of this was to give this information to Chrysler to make sure that they fix this problem so it doesn't happen again, right?
Well, there are a lot of manufacturers that are actually engaging sort of the hacker community to get them to look at vulnerabilities in the system. So Tesla, as an example, also is engaging the hacker community to look at their electric cars and see what is the weakness so that they can go in and fix it. Yeah. So in the Chrysler case, they did do a recall. It's like a 1.4 million car recall. And so a lot of this is trying to be proactive. But sometimes the hackers will have to unleash or reveal the weaknesses before the manufacturers will respond to it.
Okay, one more thing, something that we all have on us at all times, our smartphones. They did this to the Android.
Yes, so at DEF CON, they talked about a new vulnerability. It was called Stagefright. It's actually not the name of the hack. It's not like Heartbleed. It's the component in all Android phones that handles multimedia playback, videos and such. And with this, 95% of Android devices were vulnerable when it was released, and now we're looking for your manufacturers, the Motorola's, the LGs, the Samsungs, to release the fix, because you can basically send someone a video file, a multimedia file or MMS file to a phone and get control at least of the microphone and the camera, so they can listen to you, they can turn on and get video recordings. And if your manufacturer gave the wrong privileges to the multimedia player, they can do other things, take full control of your phone and get into your messages.
Yeah, and is this the one you don't even have to click on it, or as long as they just send it to your phone, they have your number, they send it to you, and automatically they've got control?
Yes, because a lot of apps, particularly like Google Hangouts and apps that try to help you by pre-opening your messages, perhaps to show it as a notification, that action is what can trigger the vulnerability.
Okay, so really quickly, you guys are going to be talking about this, and I imagine the IMUA launch on your show coming up tonight, right?
Well, so IMUA was delayed, and it was, the launch took place at 12 midnight last night.
Yeah.
So if anybody was up, they could watch it. Basically, what we're going to be talking about, we have the teams from the community colleges. So some of them went to Wallops, and some of them are here in Hawaii. So we'll have some of the guys that are in Hawaii talk about how they actually got together to design this, basically this pretty advanced system.
But they weren't
together.
They weren't together, but they weren't together.
So they're from different community colleges in Hawaii.
All right, Bytemarks Cafe tonight.
Yep, 5 o'clock on HPR2.
There you go. All the information on our website, hawaiinewsnow.com. We'll be right back. Good job, guys.